Tack så mycket Marie Granlund och jag tackar så mycket att du tog tid att komma, även att det är mycket nu inför valkampanjen, men det är jätteviktigt. Nu är det dags för vår utländska gästföreläsare från Albanien, Redi Shehu. Jag ska bara ta en liten, ni har det lite på engelska, han kommer föreläsa på engelska. Jag tar en liten kort beskrivning på svenska. Redi Shehu är ordförande för kommunikationsinstitutet Medius i Albanien. Han har tagit del i några av de viktigaste tv-debattpanelerna i Albanien, analytiker i mainstream media, liksom columnist för några av de stora dagstidningarna. Han har också deltagit i flera akademiska konferenser och publicerade artiklar om sociala frågor och offentlig kommunikation. Redi Shehu, welcome to Sweden, and you can start your speech.
Thank you very much for inviting me, having me. I was very pleased when my friends invited me to. I'm speaking in English, but I don't know Swedish, so I hope that you can understand, of course. And I was very pleased when my friends invited me to speak about a very crucial issue like the engagement and enhancing immigrants' participation in political processes. And I was very happy for the reason that also Albania is a very important part of the immigration community, and also the reason why the immigrants should be part of the political processes is, I think, one of the main things that can change the situation. I have some topics to share with you very shortly, and I hope that it will be not annoying at the end. No, the question is generally in two groups of asking. First, should we give to the immigrants the right to vote? We, in a sense, the hosting country. And second is how, once giving this chance to vote, the right to vote, how we can enhance their political participation in the electoral processes. For the first topic, we can say that if we want to save a nation's slide toward authoritarianism and dictatorship, then it should be given the immigrants the right to vote. Because the immigrants do not threaten the democracy unless we throw them out from democracy. They are not a threat of democracy because they enriches the democracy with a multiculturalism and gave the democracy a multi-faced color. These against the society, the authoritarian society, which tends to go toward monolithic and uniformity. What we see from the far-right movement generally, they say, oh yeah, you're right, but the problem is that they breach our national unity. And they breach our national unity. For that reason, we have to exclude them, reject it at the end. So we don't need them, we don't need their political opinion. Okay, but if we disempower the immigrants, if we marginalize them, if we block them, exclude them, and then reject them, that's it. That's the case that we can build an authoritarian regime, authoritarian society. Okay, say the far-right movement. Well, but they came in the country breaking the national laws. They entered illegally. So for that reason, we don't need them. Okay, we say. But there are two problems. First is their illegality has gone, it's been neutralized at the moment when the authorities gave them the documentation, the permit to stay. And second, the right to vote is a basic right, and it's not depending on opinion of certain groups. So I think all this discussion of immigrants and immigration has nothing to do with immigrants themselves, but it has to do with an ugly battle for political power that has been used by some especially far-right movements trying to reach the power. So if we want to save drafting a nation toward fascism, we have to get involved immigrants to the right to vote. First, second. How can we enhance the right to vote? How we can make possible that this group of people can contribute and give to this society a multi-faced and color enrichments. What we see in the immigrants, there are two groups of immigrants. The first group, which is the minority group, is the group who comes from the countries that generally and originally they used to vote. They come from countries where political participation and the electoral processes are true, and they use the right to vote there in the origin country, and they use the right to vote in the new country, the hosting country. But the second group, I'm here, you are here, it's okay?
Yes.
So the second group, which is the biggest one, the larger one I think, is the group coming from the conflicting eras, like Iraq, Afghanistan, or Syria recently, and from authoritarian countries and dictatorship countries, where political processes are a fake one, where political processes didn't bring any change at all. So for that reason, they didn't take part in the process there. And for that reason, they, in the new country, in the hosting country, they are not using the right to vote. And that is the problem, and these groups should be educated with the new context where they are. Because the new context, the Swedish context, is not the same. They are in a new reality where political processes are in a fair and just society, and where the democracy is a true one. So the vote means too much. I think that an immigrant and a group of immigration people cannot live in a vacuum. An immigrant is not a neutral being. An immigrant has desires, has projects, has plans, has purposes in long and short terms, has families and children education. So they cannot stay in vain. They are taking from this country and European countries too much things, too many things they didn't have in the countries of origin. And they are not giving back to this benefit that they are just profiting. They are not giving back to these countries. And giving back to this country, to offering to this country, the best way I think is the contribution in the selecting leadership process. And it's very important. Selecting leadership process is a very important process, because your dreams, desires, plans, even children education can be destroyed by a wrong leadership. And if you choose the right leadership, then your dreams and your plans in short and long terms can be converted in a political program model. It's very important that the integration, the political processes of immigrants are of high priority. Another thing that I would like to share with you is the question of identity. Because what does it mean, identity in a political process? One somebody can say. But it can be because what we have verified from the statistic, immigrants in general have a lower economic level compared to the non-immigrants. Immigrants community have a lower integration level than the others in a society, contribution to society. And this brings to the fact that this community of immigrants has a lower sense of national belonging. In this context, a lower sense of Swedish national belonging, which means that they are attracted by other realities and not by this new reality. They stay attached with the reality where they are coming from and not getting involved in the new reality where they are. So the question is how we can attract their attention to the new reality. Of course, an immigrant, a group of immigrants, can stay attached with the old reality because they have relates, have families, have members, of course. but they should be aware of the new reality. And they should be aware about the contribution of the new reality. A lower economic level and a lower integration level create tensions toward non-immigrant groups, because there is a disproportion between them and the society. If you have lower economic level and lower integration level with the other part of society, then it's a hidden tension between inside the society. And what is the far-right political movements doing? Is just investing, enhancing this tension within the society. They are investing in the fear industry, the industry of fear, or the other as typology, coming from outside. And these tensions are being invested by these far-right movements to create, to bridge the equality within especially within Swedish society, but we see these in other European societies as well. They are trying to build walls and to break bridges, and all this helps in enhancing the tension between these two groups, non-immigrants and immigrants. But another very important issue is that immigration groups has a lower level of information. So we've got three right now: low level of economics, low level of integration, and low level of information. What does it mean? It means that if you have lower level of information, you do not have a clear idea. And if you don't have idea, you cannot make decision. So no information, no idea, no decision at all. But an immigrant, for an immigrant, it's important to know what are the political participants, what the political parties they program saying, and how the public budget will be spent. If you do not have information, there is the prelude of political abandon. So, for that reason, higher economic level, also higher integration level and higher information level brings you to a quality position to the society and make the tension disappear. Otherwise, if there is no political participation and political information, there is no room for concern or for frustration and saying, oh, nothing is changing, nobody is doing anything, but you didn't do the bare minimum of participation. Then you cannot pretend. So you do your right, your duty as the political participation to vote, and then you will see that things will come to a change. Education to vote means education toward making the difference. So we should, I think that we should educate the people to be educated toward the difference. Because to vote means to exist. Now we have immigrants that exist biologically. And I'm speaking for immigrants in a large number of immigration. I heard, so 40% is terrible. 40% that do not take part in the political process in a fair and free society like Sweden, for example. And to vote means to exist. So we have immigrants that exist biologically but do not exist politically. And the question is how we can transform and convert these biological beings into a political being one. And political being means that they are giving contribution to the societies where they are taking too much. And the last thing, and I hope that you are not annoyed, and the last thing is the contribution. What we see in the Western societies, and especially in Sweden, we see many immigrants that are very successful in labor market, in the economy market, We see very successful in cultural field and sports field immigrants, not mentioning hundreds of very successful immigrants in sports. And sometimes they became national pride of their countries where they are. But there's a disproportion between their personal achievement and their effective voice as a community. So they are in a very good position personally, but they're not a good position as a community. Not effective voice to the, not giving an effective voice, political effective voice in the society where they live. The vote is also a duty. It's a duty toward the society where you are living. And I think that the vote is the best and the strongest signal against racism and xenophobia. Thank you very much.